Time for race 4 out of 12 today. It's Heat 1 for Junior Road Tax. Let's take you through the starting grid. Time qualifying this morning saw Thomas Verheyen take pole position by over 0.3 of a second ahead of Noah Janssen in the amended qualifying results, where several drivers, 6 of which were penalised for impeding. It will be Thomas Verheyen and Noah Janssen on the front row, with Bran van der Weyken and Ryan Bourguignon on row 2. Lieke van Berkel and Alexander van Meeuwen will round out row 3, with Boris Maximov and Lucas Sells rounding out the top 4 rows. Boris Maximov was one of the 6 drivers penalised and got 5 position grid drop for impeding during qualifying. Lucas Sells, Jim Back and Cameron Nelson round out the top 10. Nelson also, who was 5th in the session, starts P10. Lars Lambers, Philip Wisniewski, Max Siderski, João Maria Pereira, Jake Woods, Tom Herger, Isaac Barker, and Enzo Riccio round out the 18-strong grid. So the drivers that I haven't mentioned that were penalised were Jake Woods, who starts 15th, then Lucas Sells, who starts 8th, Cameron Nelson, who starts 10th, Enzo Riccio, also who starts 18th, would have started 13th, and then the 297 of Max Siderski, who starts in 13th position. Thank you to Derek Smith, who was asking if Jarno, and probably you mean by Jarno Opmeer, well, he runs in the Chrono Karting Dutch KZ2 Championship, which had its second round of the season last week at Circuit Park Berghem in the Netherlands. So the red lights will be ignited on the starting gantry ahead of this 7-minute plus 1 additional lap excursion around this 1.36 kilometre circuit, 12 turns in all. So with a lot more blue sky up ahead over the circuit, should hopefully then be able to have some track evolution. So Victor Deutz and Noah Janssen will control the pace of the rolling start as they make their way through the 12th and final corner. Revs rise, lights are on, and it's a full start. Race director Martin Liner has sent them around again for another lap. So if there is another full start, then there will be a red flag stoppage. So the drivers head back down the Europalaan, back straight away between turns 6 and 7. So red lights ignited on the starting gantry once again. Drivers exit out of the final corner. Revs rise, lights are on, lights are out. We're underway, second time of asking. As Thomas Verheyen leads the field into turn 1. As it's caused absolute chaos from the second row backwards. At least half the field involved. 2 going straight on and getting caught out if they want to rejoin. That's the 290. That's Bran van der Weyken, I believe, who started 3rd. He was the one that got turned around, and then all hell broke loose behind. There's a couple of other drivers trying to... it's very muddy, it's slippery down there. one of which is also the 227. That's Alexander Van Meeuwen. So the third driver looks to be, I think I just made out, it was Ryan Bourguignon from France in the 223. So half the field got compromised as a direct result of Bran van der Weyken might have had a little bit of an assist from behind, but the race carries on. So looks like the 223 of Bourguignon might have just rejoined. Battle for third place coming out of the final corner. One of them going very wide. That was Max Swiderski. Cameron Nelson now up to third. So it's Janssen leading from Verheyen. Nelson now up to third from 10th. Swiderski, Lambers, Woods up 9 places from 15th on the grid. João Maria Pereira up to 7th. Enzo Riccio, the Flying Finn, now up to 8th place has moved up 10 places. So biggest mover so far is the Finn. He was at the back end of the field and he weathered the storm that was happening in front of him, managed to keep out of harm's way and keep his nose clean. Tom Hedger up from 16th to 9th. Lieke van Berkel's dropped to round out the top 10. But there are the two race leaders, Noah Janssen and Thomas Verheyen. Verheyen managing to get through trying to get through on the inside at turn 9. Janssen managing to cut through in front of the 282 from Belgium on the run down through to turn 10. Dry line starting to showcase itself here at Genk, so track evolution could be very much on its way a lot quicker. Field now makes its way through out of the final corner. Cameron Nelson swinging the cart wide, nearly giving the opportunity to Max Swiderski to go through for third as they head into turns 1 and 2. With that dry line starting to show, if you stay on the racing line, that's going to cook the tyres. As swing wide there through out of turn 3 from Thomas Verheyen to light up the rear tyres. He touches the right rear wheel on the grass and the dirt coming out of turn 4. Cameron Nelson has got on his coattails Max Swiderski, the number 297, previous BNL Karting Series champion in his own right, mini class if I remember correctly. So Bran van der Weyken out, Alexander Van Meeuwen out, Ryan Bourguignon has dropped all the way down to 16th, but has got the pace in the 223 to start trying to close on those in front. But there's a big gap, 41 seconds back to Filip Wisniewski in 15th. As now Cameron Nelson joins the fray. Max Swiderski not too far behind. Change for the race lead. And Cameron Nelson has done the pair of them throughout a turn number 12. Cameron Nelson jumps up from third to the race lead. A great move from the 241 from Dan Holland Racing. Thomas Verheyen looking up the inside of Noah Janssen. Janssen gets back at him through turn 2 to take back second place. Max Swiderski waiting in the wings in 4th. And Lars Lambers isn't too far behind them either. Cameron Nelson has just set just quite recently, the fastest lap of the race, a 1:12.272. As it's getting a bit close for comfort through turn 8 between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. As Ryan Bourguignon just coming out of the final corner. As the leaders are coming through out of turn 9. 5th and 6th are not too far behind. And that also not just includes Lars Lambers, but also Jake Woods from the UK in the 205. So Jake Woods looking to make it position number 10 gained and get himself up into 5th place. And that could be the opportunity. He's going to look for the move up the inside. He's got through. Woods gets through. And now Cameron Nelson is leading the way. Max Swiderski looking up the inside of Noah Janssen and also Thomas Verheyen. Quickly gets through for second. Verheyen tries to get through. Janssen runs wide through turn 3. Swiderski gets through, but then Janssen on the curbing through turn 3, right in front of the front bumper, and Swiderski responds in going through turn 4. Some great jockeying for position, and now Woods and Lambers join the party. Cameron Nelson has got an 8.5 of a second advantage after the opening 4 laps, after that great move through into turn 12 to take the race lead from 3rd. Ah, right. Nikita Lubimov, good afternoon. Well, it's nearly evening where you are at the moment if you're back home. But with 1 minute and 10 seconds still to go, Cameron Nelson is starting to move away. And that gap could be more than a second. And there has been a change. Jake Woods now past Noah Janssen. That's fourth for the Brit. Nelson's lead was 8.5 tenths of a second. It now climbs by half a tenth. Woods, new fastest lap, and he's going to gun for third. And 1 minute 11.867. Janssen tries to get through onwards through turn 2. He's going to possibly lose out to Lars Lambers, but nips it in the bud, gets past by going towards the outside of turn 3, hitting the throttle, pointing the kart straight, and biting down and getting the traction. So 20 seconds to go. We will see the final lap for this race next time by. But Cameron Nelson with a great overtake through that final corner from third to first. And he started 10th on the grid. Time has expired. And it's last lap board being shown to the 2:41 from the UK. Has Thomas Verheyen managed to close that gap? No, it's expanded to nearly a second. Swiderski having to fight with Jake Woods for third place. And Woods gets a tighter line through into turn 2. I have to give a shout out to Isaac Barker here as well, up 4 places from 17th on the grid. Enzo Riccio still holding on to 8th. And is about 6 tenths behind the Portuguese man of war, João Maria Pereira, in 7th, who's made it up from 14th on the grid. But the final lap inevitably will bring us to the conclusion of the first set of heats here at the BNL Karting Series kickoff for 2024. And Cameron Nelson doing a sterling job from the outside of row 5. Very much echoes what Macaulay Bishop did in the opening heats for the seniors. One more turn to negotiate. And from 10th on the grid, it's going to be the final corner for the 2:41 from the United Kingdom. Cameron Nelson wins Junior Rotax Heat 1 ahead of Thomas Verheyen, who was our pole sitter by 1 second after 7 laps of racing. Jake Woods, what a performance from the young Brit. The 2:05 from 15th to finish P3. Max Swiderski also making inroads as well. 9 places from 13th on the grid to 4th. Noah Janssen was on course for potentially a victory, ends up 5th. Lars Lambers, João Maria Pereira, and the flying Finn Enzo Riccio round at the top 8. Tom Reger makes up 7 places from 16th to finish 9th. Head of Lucas Els, Boris Maximov, Isaac Barker, Jim Back, Lieke van Berkel, Philip Wisniewski, and now coming out of the final corner, a little bit of a disaster for Ryan Bourguignon, but not the only one affected in that first lap turn 2 incident as we lost on the opening lap both Bran van der Weyken and Alexander Van Meeuwen. But Cameron Nelson convincingly wins from 10th on the grid by over a second in Heat 1 for Junior Rotax.